Hello everyone. Today from this video we are going to start the fourth module of our syllabus, that is wireless LAN. In this video we are going to see introductory part of a wireless LAN, then the characteristics of wireless LAN, that is its advantages, disadvantages. Then after that we will see which factors we should consider while designing the wireless LANs, that is design goals, and finally basic types of wireless LAN. So let's begin with the introductory part. So all the mobile communication technologies, as we know, are standardized by IEEE. Now IEEE has classified these technologies into three types: local area networks, personal area networks, and wide area networks. Okay, so local wireless networks, in case of wireless we will talk about. So local wireless networks are standardized by IEEE as a IEEE 802.11 standard, whereas personal wireless networks are standardized as 802.15, and wireless distribution networks are standardized as 802.16. Okay, WLAN, that is wireless metropolitan area network, is called as a wireless distribution network. So we will only focus on local wireless networks. These are typically restricted in their diameter to buildings. That means their area is normally a shorter or smaller, like a building or a campus or a room, and they are operated by individuals, not by the network providers. So if it is in a campus, there may be a central authority inside a campus, like a college or school, which will be setting up this wireless LAN rather than a network provider. Okay, or if you are using or establishing a wireless LAN inside your home, that may be managed by you yourself, that is individual. Okay, so that is the concept of wireless LAN. That's why it is called as a local. Its coverage area is much shorter compared to other networks, that like wide area networks or metropolitan area networks. So the universal goal of all these wireless LANs is to replace office cabling, that is whatever cabling that we require for setting up a network, that should be replaced so that we can utilize more space inside a room or inside a campus, and we can avoid infrastructure related issues which may happen in case of maintenance. So that is the first goal. Then our next goal, that is universally accepted, is to replace wires for internet access. Okay, so you might be aware about mobile tethering. That means if we connect our mobile through a wire to a computer, we should be able to access the internet. Okay, so that is tethering, mobile tethering. So to enable tetherless access to the internet, that is another goal. So without using wire, how can we use internet? For that, WLANs have been designed. And then to introduce a higher flexibility for ad hoc communication. That means ad hoc communication means on the spot, if we want to create a network in case of such as emergencies, then we should be able to create a small network among 4, 5 or tens of peoples, like in case of group meetings. So that we should be able to do using these wireless LAN. These are universal goals. The more details about these goals we are going to see later on in the video. So let's first look at the characteristics of such wireless LANs. As we know, wireless LANs are just like our normal LANs, that is wired LANs, local area networks, but the medium is a air, that is free space, that means wireless. So in the characteristics we will talk about only advantages and disadvantages, so that will define its characteristics. So first, talking about advantages, first advantage is its flexibility. So wireless LANs are very flexible within its reception area. What does that mean? No matter how small or large your room is, or how congested, or how many different obstacles are there present in the room, wireless LAN will be still able to communicate, because radio waves can penetrate walls and senders and receivers can be placed anywhere. So the room geometry or wall geometry will not define quality of your communication or will not define your communication. So that is one of the major advantage of these wireless LANs. You can stay anywhere, not necessarily you have to sit at one place and only then you will be communicate. So it allows that flexibility to roam around everywhere within that small area and still be able to communicate. Then second advantage is regarding emergencies. So let's say there is a certain emergency like flood, fire or earthquake. Then in order to communicate in such situations where there is no infrastructure available, we should be able to create a network without any previous planning. So one of the advantage of wireless LAN is without such proper planning, we are able to create ad hoc networks. The details of such ad hoc networks we will see in the later in the module. So ad hoc networks without previous planning are possible due to wireless LANs. As long as devices are following the same standard of the network, they can communicate, and there is no need of setting up a wiring or maintenance of these wiring because it is wireless. So that is another advantage. Then third advantage is design. So this because of absence of wires in the communication, wireless networks allow design of small portable devices which can be put into a pocket also. So for example, our mobile handsets or PDAs or tabs, notebooks, these we can put it into pocket or a bag. Laptops can be carried through the bag. So design of small devices is possible because of lack of wires, and that is one of the advantage of wireless LAN. Then next advantage is its robustness. Now robustness means ability to function properly even in the moment of crisis. Okay, so what type of crisis we may face during the communication or during the existence of a network? For example, like natural disasters like earthquakes or fire, or sometimes if you are using a network or you are part of a network inside a home, then if somebody comes in and switches off your modem, then in case of wired network your communication will be broken. But that will not be a problem in case of wireless LAN because there will be no one who can pull the plug on your communication. That is, your communication is wireless, so no need to worry about somebody breaking into your communication like kids or rats or someone like that breaking your wires. You don't need to worry about that. So its robustness to function properly even in the situations of crisis is another advantage. Then the next advantage is cost. Now cost, we are talking in terms of uh, its scalability. That means even if we have set up our network considering only 4 to 5 participants, adding more participant will not increase the cost of your wireless LAN because there are no wires to install. So any number of users can add or any number of users can leave your network without costing you extra in such situations. So that is another advantage. Then they have certain limitations also. Some of them are limitations, some of them are drawbacks, because everything comes with advantages as well as disadvantages. So first limitation is quality of service that wireless LANs can provide. So when we talk about QoS or quality of service, we talk about latency, delay, jitter, bandwidth, throughput, efficiency, so many other parameters. So if we consider only one parameter like bandwidth, for example, wireless LAN provide very low bandwidth compared to the wired LANs. Okay, why is that? Because in wired LANs we have a dedicated physical medium between communicating parties. Two nodes are connected to each other. Node 1 and node 2 are connected to each other via physical cable. So whatever data that is exchanged on this particular cable is only used by only these two nodes. No other node can break into this particular communication. So both nodes, node 1 and node 2, have entire bandwidth which is provided by this cable available for communication. If you are using Ethernet, bandwidth will be in megabits, so 1 to 10 megabits per second, or if you are using optical fiber, it may go up to 100 Mbps also. So entire bandwidth will be available for these two nodes. But in wireless LAN, there is no physical cable. Medium between node 1 and node 2 is wireless, and air is shared by everyone within that environment. Whether they are part of your wireless LAN or not, it doesn't matter. Suppose there is a electrical equipment or there is a radio which is transmitting certain packets, okay, these are not part of your network, but still if its frequency matches with yours, then it can cause problems. So the quality of service degrades in such cases because the medium, which is air, is shared by everyone within that environment. Okay, so that is the meaning of this limitation. Then next limitation is, because now it is because of its popularity and its several advantages, several vendors are coming up with their own solutions to provide a wireless LANs. Different organizations establish their own wireless network. Home users are establishing their own wireless network. The devices which are used for these networks are also vendor specific. Now different providers provide different features also. So one problem with such variety of products is that these additional features which are provided by different providers only work within the homogeneous environment. Now homogeneous environment means if you are using a company wireless network, whatever communication or whatever devices that you are using for that network will not work in other company, because obviously that company has set up a wireless LAN considering its own employees only. So that is one example. Or another example may be an analogical example similar to this particular limitation is that if you are using a 3G phone, it will not work in a 4G environment. 3G phone will not work in a 4G environment because 4G provides higher features which are not supported by 3G phone. Reverse compatibility is there, but forward compatibility is not there. Okay, or if you are using a GSM SIM card, it will not work in a CDMA network. Okay, this is just an analogy, not actual wireless LAN, but similar to that, different vendors, for example D-Link is one of the vendors who can provide wireless routers. So D-Link is following certain regulations or certain standards which may not be compatible with the what we can say other vendors. Okay, so D-Link devices may not work in the other networks also. So many proprietary solutions are providing this type of problem that they work only in their own environment, not with the other environment. That is one of the restriction. Then next disadvantage is, as medium is shared, every country is posing certain restrictions if you are communicating through the wireless media, because everyone can hear your communication. So there are certain rules and regulations followed by each and every country, and it is regulated by an authority with respect to each country. For example, there is a regulatory authority of India known as TRAI, Telecom Regulatory Authority of India, which defines the standards, rules and regulations for setting up your wireless LAN within India. Okay, so if you are setting up a wireless LAN, you have to follow the guidelines of TRAI. If you are not able to follow the guidelines of TRAI, then Indian authorities may take a legal action against you. So if you want to set up a global solution, you have to consider these regulations for each country. For example, if you want to set up a wireless network in 5 different countries, then you have to follow the regulations of 5 different governments in order to make your product usable in all these 5 countries. Okay, so that is one of the restriction of using a wireless LAN. Then next disadvantage is safety and security. Now, if you talk about safety, wireless LAN are radiating electromagnetic waves, which can be hazardous to human health. If you are consistently exposed to these electromagnetic radiations, then it will have impact on your health. For example, employees working in office environment which is supported by a Wi-Fi, so they will be working around 9 to 10 hours in that environment, and if you are working for majority of years like 10-20 years for same environment, then it will have impact on your health also. So that is one of the drawback of the wireless LAN. Then as the medium is shared, anyone who is smart enough can eavesdrop your communication. As there is no physical medium, it becomes easier to eavesdrop into your communication. So that is one of the drawback regarding its security. Then next we will talk about the goals of designing wireless LAN. Till now we have seen what are the advantages, disadvantages. Now if you have decided to set up your own wireless LAN, which factors you should consider for designing such network. So first factor you should consider is the wireless LAN that you are going to implement should be global and it should provide seamless operation. So wireless LAN, if you are putting your network into the market, it should sell in all countries. So if you want your product to be sold in all countries, you have to follow the rules and regulations of all countries. So national and international frequency regulations have to be considered before designing a network. Okay, so it's not use if you have designed a network and after that you are trying to find out what are the rules and regulations, that will not of any use. So before implementing your product or bringing your product into the market, you should consider all the frequency regulations followed by all the countries where you want to sell your product. Sorry. Then apart from this, if you compare wireless LAN to the wide area networks, the equipments associated with LAN is a smaller one, so you can carry that from one nation to another nation also. That is not possible in the wide area networks because those equipments will be much larger and costlier. So while moving the equipments from one location to another, especially in case of countries, you should also consider that those equipments follow the same regulations provided by all the countries. Okay, operation should still be legal in all countries. Okay, so that is the first design goal while designing your wireless LAN. Okay, then the second factor or second design goal is a low power for battery use. So we know that in most of the cases, the devices which are used for communication in wireless LAN, these are mobile devices. That means they are portable devices. So most of the time they are operating on a limited amount of power resources available. So a LAN design should take into account that devices are running on a battery power and these devices must implement power saving modes or power management functions, or if you are designing a LAN, then the protocols that you are designing should or implementing, the protocols that you are implementing should also consider power availability within the network. Okay, routing protocols are designed for such wireless LANs where they consume lot of powers in wired networks, but they are adapted for wireless network to consume very low power. Okay, these are called as power aware routing protocols, so that should be considered for your wireless LAN. Then third factor is a license free operation. Suppose you have brought your wireless LAN product into the market, then customers are going to need to buy it. Okay, so when they buy it, they should not need to apply for a license, because already they are spending money on buying your product. So for communication, they should not have to pay extra amount. So to provide license free communication, you should operate in a license free band, that is ISM band 2.4 gigahertz. Overall worldwide 2.4 gigahertz band, that means frequencies in this band are freely available for communication. So you can set up a network in that frequency band easily. Any communication outside this band has to be purchased from a IEEE, so that you will not communicate illegally with other networks. Okay, so license free operation is another main design goal of the wireless LANs. Then next goal while designing your wireless LAN should be, it should provide robust transmission technology. That means your wireless LAN should operate under difficult conditions also. At the same time, it should use uh, radio transmission which is falling outside the frequency ranges of normal home appliance electrical devices. Okay, so your transmission should be at a frequency which will not interfere with the other electrical appliances, as well as it should be able to communicate in the moment of crisis also. So that is the next goal while designing a wireless network. Now next goal is regarding ease of use. Next two goals rather, that is simplified spontaneous cooperation at meetings. So whenever you are designing a WLAN, it should not require a complicated setup procedure. Like when you turn on your device, your time should not be consumed in order to participate in the network, but whenever you switch on your device, it should easily be part of your wireless LAN. Okay, that should be your goal. Then it should not require complex management also. So it should work on plug and play basis. That means as soon as we switch on, just like in case of USB, when we insert a USB onto the computer, you do not require to install the drivers for that. It automatically starts communicating with your computer. Similar to that, mobile device, as long as it is following all the regulations, whenever it comes under the frequency range of your wireless LAN, it should be able to communicate. So simple management. Then next design goal should be, you should protect the investment in the wired net networks also. So let's say you have brought into the market a new wireless LAN product. So it should not mean that everyone should follow your standard, or everyone will follow your product, and whatever existing product that becomes obsolete. Existing product is also sold by you, and if there is a new product, it should be interoperable with the existing product. That means wireless LAN should protect wired network investment by being interoperable with the existing networks. So if there is already a wired network, it should not become useless after implementing wireless network. Okay, because of situations where some of the users may still be using wired networks. So in order to make that possible, you should provide a mechanism in your wireless LAN to communicate between different types of LAN. So bridging between different LAN should be enough to interoperate. Okay, so that should be considered while designing your wireless LAN. Okay, so make a provision so that it can communicate with the other types of LAN also. The next goal should be regarding your safety and security, which this disadvantage we have seen previously. So my wireless LAN should be secure, so no one should be able to read the data. Then it should maintain the privacy because medium is shared, so nobody should be able to understand who are the communicating parties, so their identity should remain anonymous. At the same time, my wireless network should not radiate high power electromagnetic radiation, so that it will not have hazardous effect on the human health. Okay, and the final goal is a transparency for applications and higher layer protocols. So when we are implementing a wireless LAN, we should keep in mind that applications should not worry about what type of network they are communicating the data over. That means, for example, a browser. Okay, when you type certain website address on a browser, that page is fetched from a server. So server should not worry about whether page is requested by a browser on mobile or browser on computer. Server should treat both request as the same. Okay, so application, which is a higher layer protocol, should not worry about mobility of the communication. So existing application should continue to run over wireless LAN. Only difference should be the delay and a bandwidth. Okay, sometimes it is also required to provide location awareness, like in the applications such as GPS. So if it is required, then you should be able to provide that one as well. Okay, so these are main goals that should be considered, or main factors that should be considered while designing a wireless network, wireless local area network. And we have seen its characteristics like advantages and disadvantages. Now let's look at the two basic types of wireless LAN. First one is a infrastructure based network and second one is a ad hoc network. So this is the diagram which is on your screen, which shows these two types of network. First is an infrastructure based network. That means it requires a infrastructure equipment to set up a wireless LAN. For example, there will be a wired connection to which access points like routers will be attached through wires, and these access points will provide a wireless transmission to all the devices within the range. Okay, so that means, as you can see, this is a small network set up by this access point. This is a small network set up by this access point. Now these both small networks are part of a same WLAN. Okay, now one more important thing is the devices in these networks will be able to communicate only through the access point. Okay, not directly to each other. So communication between two devices without involvement of access point is not possible. Every communication goes through the access point. Simple example is our Wi-Fi. Apart from that, there can be another networks which can be attached to your wireless LAN also. So that is infrastructure based network, because it requires infrastructure like access point, wires, and so on. Okay, the next type is ad hoc network. Now ad hoc network does not rely on infrastructure. Ad hoc network are spontaneously created by devices itself. In ad hoc networks, devices are able to communicate directly with each other. No access point, no wires, nothing else, no routers. Every mobile device has to be able to communicate with every other mobile device. So mobile devices must be able to route the packets as well. So different ad hoc networks can contain different number of mobile nodes as well. Okay, so we will see in detail about these both types of networks in the upcoming videos. That's all for today. Thank you.